Well, this is the week that we've all been waiting for. The chicks are finally 3 weeks old, which means that today they get to move out to their tractors. Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead. This is Kevin with Living Traditions Homestead. And the chicks have finally turned 3 weeks old. 3 weeks today. So this is an exciting week. This is the week that they get to finally move outside. From here on out, they'll live exclusively in the chicken tractors. And there's a few upgrades that we need to do for them this week as far as giving them bigger feeders, bigger waterers, and then actually moving them into the tractors. So we're going to go over a few of those things to start out with. Let's start by talking about the equipment that we'll use inside of the tractors. Now, keeping with kind of how we work on our homestead, you know, we try to make as many things as we can ourselves. Let me show you exactly what we do use. Now remember, we've raised close to 1,000 Cornish crosses on our homestead, and we use the same style of feeder and water for all of them. So I can tell you from experience that they work really well. Let's start with the feeder. The feeder is just one of these rubber pans that you can get from your local feed store. I like these because they hold up to the elements really well. They don't crack as quickly as plastic. You know, they just stay really nice year after year. And then all you need is a 5-gallon bucket. What you want to do is take the 5-gallon bucket and drill some decent sized holes, 4 of them all the way around the bucket, and then just drill a hole in the bottom of the bucket and bolt the pan to the bucket. One of these feeders will hold 25 pounds of feed. Now, the reason that I like that is because at the end, when the chicks are, you know, at butcher age, each tractor will be going through 25 pounds of feed a day. So this will be 1 day's worth of feed, even at the end. Right now it'll be 3 or 4 days worth of feed, but even at the end you only have to fill these once a day, which makes it really nice. Let me show you, this one I've already filled so you can see how they work. What I like also about these black pans is that they're nice and deep, so the feed stays inside and they don't waste a lot of feed out of these pans. So those are the feeders. The waterers are also very, very simple. On these I do use a plastic pan because you want something sturdy, but what you want to get is, doesn't really matter what kind, but some type of plastic pan or bowl that's fairly deep, and it has to be bigger around than a 5-gallon bucket. You want at least probably 2 inches bigger around all the way around than the 5-gallon bucket. Then what you're going to do is on your 5-gallon bucket, you're going to just drill a hole so that what you want to do is measure this pan. Wherever the pan is, you want to put the hole so that the water level will stop before it overflows from the pan. Let me show you how that works. I've already got water in this one. All you do is tip your bucket into the pan, and you'll see the water start to come out. Now the water's only going to get up as high as that hole, and then it's going to stop. And I could try to sound really smart and explain the scientific principles between how that works. It's something to do with pressure, but I'm really not that smart. I just know it works, and it works really well. And so these are what we use. We'll let that keep going. Let's go over and talk about the tractors. We'll come back to that in a minute after it fills up all the way. If you haven't watched my video about how to build these tractors, I'll leave a link to that up there. And you know, I originally based this design off of Doug's design from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I really like the design overall, but there were a few things about Doug's design that just didn't work well on our homestead. And that is specifically that, first of all, he uses just chicken wire, which I did initially, but on the first batch of chickens that we raised in these, we had a raccoon be able to break in and, well, not break in, but be able to pull one of the chicks through the wire piece by piece, because the holes were big enough for the raccoon to be able to get his foot through the chicken wire. So I did go back, and I have a video about that as well, when I went back and showed how to reinforce it with smaller wire. And ever since we did that, we've had zero problems with predators being able to get in. Now the other thing that I did to make them more secure is that on the original design, you would just tie the doors right here with a wire or a string, which works well, it holds them up, but it leaves quite a bit of play in the sides. So what I did is I took these tie downs from Walmart, and what I do is I run it from this door to that door on both sides, and that way you can just pull that tight and there's no way anything's getting in there. It makes it very, very secure. So we'll put 25 chicks in each one of these tractors. This is the same amount of floor space as what Joel Salatin recommends. It's the same, he raises I believe 75 in his tractors. They're a bigger tractor, but it's the same amount of floor space per bird as what he recommends. And I figure if Joel Salatin recommends it, the guy's been doing it for a long time, he's got it down to a science, I'll go off his recommendations. So that's what these are. And then I just have a tarp that I put over the top. Again, based on Joel Salatin's recommendation, cover 2/3 of the top. So just leave 1/3 open for them to get some sun, and cover 2/3, and that will guarantee that they always have shade and plenty of protection from rain. So let's go back and look at that waterer, and then Sarah and I are going to get busy moving the chicks in. You guys are not going to believe how big they've gotten in the last week. They're almost completely feathered now. I haven't had a heat lamp on them for the entire week, and they're just growing like crazy. Let's go look at that waterer real quick. So there we go. You can see that the water stopped before it overflowed out of the pan. You just got to the top of the little hole there, and it stops. It's magic, I guess. So that's it. We're going to go start putting the chicks in the tractor, and we'll show you guys what they look like. Again, you're going to be amazed. Okay, one more thing I forgot to tell you guys on the tractors is that, and I actually forgot about this, Sarah reminded me, is that originally the doors opened up. And the problem with that is that as soon as you would open them, the chicks would come running out. So what I did is I made them so that they're hinged on the bottom, and they actually open down. And what I have found is that when you're doing it this way, they don't really like to walk on this wire, so they're a lot less likely to just run out. So, so that's an added kind of something I would do right off the bat if I were to build these again, and make them this way. Now, the other thing I didn't talk about is you always want to make sure that you're putting your water on the uncovered end and your feed on the covered end. And I try to get the food far enough in, that the chickens can get all the way around it, and that if it does rain, it stays dry. So, can you believe how big they're getting already? 3 weeks old. They already have most of their feathers, or a lot of their feathers, and they're doing really well. We haven't lost any more. I mean, they're active, they're running around, they're thriving. You know, people give these things a bad rap, but I really am telling you, after raising as many as we have, it's all about how you raise them. Now, starting today, remember, starting at 3 weeks, so starting today when they're in the tractors is when we start feeding 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So they'll get their feed at 7 a.m. and have it taken away at 7 p.m. And that slows down the growth enough that they don't get the leg problems, they don't get the heart problems, and they make it to the end. And even at the end, they're active. So we're going to get busy putting these in the tractors, and we'll show you once they're all in. Right, well, we've got them all in. You can see that they are happy and healthy, running around. You know, remember, this is the first time they've ever felt grass on their feet, so I'm sure they're just loving that. It is nice and cool, I'm sure, and just, you know, exactly what they're designed to do. So now, just to go over the routine one more time, feed every morning at 7 a.m., take it away every day at 7 p.m. What I'll do is I'll move the tractor every morning just before I give them their food for the morning. It'll take about 2 or 3 days before they start to learn the routine of how to move with the tractor, but after just a couple days, they know that they need to move with the tractor, and that when they're done moving, they get their food. They're smarter than you think they are. So again, this is week 3. They're 3 weeks old and they're doing great. So if you like this series, go back and watch the original the first 3 weeks. We're going to continue this all the way through until they are butcher age, and I hope you guys learned something along the way. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Until next time, you guys, thanks for stopping by the homestead, and God bless.